Speaking, every time I try to, seems like somehow, some way, uh, I run into all of these damn little conundrums and shit. So I'm gonna let y'all have a piece of this over on the side. But yeah, these people here, you get it all. All right. Now I'm not even sure if you can hear. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to get over here to YouTube where I'm at. Let's see if I could possibly check the audio and all of that to see if it's coming in any form or fashion because turn you into a tsetse fly with only one. I'm trying to check this audio and it's not giving me what I want. And yeah, I'm not happy, but I'm happy. So anywho, what I'm gonna do here is if any of y'all can hear me over here, give me a wave or a hey or whatnot. And if you're on YouTube or you can find me on YouTube, would you please go over there and make a comment? Let me know if you can hear me or whatnot there because God damn it, I've been doing this shit a couple of 2-3 hours and I still ain't got this shit right. And it sucks. Anywho, so yeah, hey 420. This is WNDC NDC. WNDC stands for We in the Crib and You Ain't. And well, that's about as good as you're gonna get. I just wanna try to uh get the attention of whomever, however, and see if I'm actually being heard. Oh yeah, I am. Okay. So if I am, you should probably be hearing a double, triple right now. And if that's the case, so anywho, all right. At least I know. What kind of a rotten job is that to ask a genuine genie? No! Turn you into a tsetse fly with only one teeth. Leave a comment. Let me know this shit's working because I had to get off of YouTube and everything and try to see what works here. And
if I had one,
I've gone through about 2-3 different formats right now, so you got to forgive me. I'm like really extra fast, really bugged out right now. So I'm gonna leave you with this. You know, we come a long way, baby. We really have, and yet pretty damn sure a lot of this that wasn't quite the dream that the king spoke of. Although I'm sure he's pretty impressed with what we got, but these newer generations and whatnot are so out there to the left, really honestly believing that their life sucks more than all the lives that got them to where they're at to such a degree that you know I got no more dog in this fight. I mean, I'm in my 60s, on my way to the promise, where there's so many people out there right now who really honestly think they got it. And I can't even say you do because you don't. Um, I got kids, got grandkids out here that I would wish a whole lot better for them. And yet, uh, some of y'all people out there really honestly don't get it. You know, we got these gender wars, everything from feminism to freedom. It's really got a whole bunch of us really messed up right now because the audacity of a lot of where we're at right now is really honestly making it very difficult for any of us to actually find that we are now in this world in this state of we're not no more in the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I saw my man. Uh, we are in the age of Aquarius and the hotbed, and we are in the wobble. We are now bipolar people on a bipolar planet just wobbling around, and nobody can figure out what the planet's going to do. And so, for a lot of us that are experiencing these things that we don't know what's going on, you're going to have to not only deal with it, but you're going to have to find a way of being positive and utilizing these newfound gifts and instincts in the favor of progress and not of, whatever. And yet, uh, you know, I'm multitasking. And for anybody that knows me, knows that I kind of suck at it sometimes. Uh, so here I am. Uh, and I'm really in need of somebody, out there. Uh, Come on over to YouTube and join me. Okay. Now, I just want to let you know that I'm kind of frazzled because I made about 5 good attempts. It took me about an hour and a half, so only to get back to where I'm at right now, and I still have to figure out a way of getting StreamYard over to Yahoo, I mean, to YouTube Studio. So get on the dick, motherfuckers. But I've been really honestly listening to a lot of uh oh, hey Debbie, how you doing, baby? Hey girl. Oh, I'm so glad somebody found me. Praise the Lord. Okay. Yeah. Um yeah, I been listening to a lot. Been seeing a lot of things going on, and really honestly, uh while we've come a long way as a people, uh I really think that we've lost a lot of ways and where we are because a lot of younger folks think that all is lost, and it ain't. I'm so good that you good. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. If there was one person that I could honestly appreciate actually showing up for my pity party, then this would be you. I so do appreciate your sexy ass. How you doing? I'm sending you positive energy as well because, yeah. Anywho, um, so in the background you got my man dredBANG's Eaton Radio broadcast, and I'm trying not to really get too deep into uh the whole copyright thing. This is all fair use with permission and whatnot. I do not own any of the music, so don't stop my voice because you think that you need to pay somebody else. Yeah, good. I'm good that you're good. Uh, Now, I'm trying to really grasp uh, some of the topics that really made me want to come out here and do this because Lord knows, ooh, I've been bojangling on trying to get out here and do my own thing because, well, I've been too busy rather with life and or with paying attention to all these different subjects and whatnot. And there's a lot of subjects. So I've got so much trouble on my mind. I refuse to lose. And we all are right now in this little thing called the new age, trying to figure out what order we about to get our butts handed to us by all the things that, in a lot of cases, we think that these other great people are trying to take us out into, and yet um, most of them really don't have a clue neither, because this bipolar planet is moving and shaping and whatnot, and it's affecting us. I mean, you got to think, look at the floods and the fires and whatnot. Well, some of the fires and whatnot that's going on out here and around here that, in a lot of cases, catching everybody off guard and they slipping and they oops. I mean, almost to the way that we were fearing all of this population. We were all, fearing this population uh, thing that they've been talking about, getting rid of a whole bunch of us. And I don't think that really it was so much as an intentional thing as more so of a heads up as to the mere fact that it's coming. It's coming because, this age of Aquarius is not a small thing, and yet a lot of us are blessed to be a part of it. We're in a planetary event that's occurring on this earth that is so unique that the last time that it happened, Jesus popped up and tried to give you hints. And for his attempt to do so, a couple hundred years afterwards, just like a couple hundred years after this, they'll probably figure it out and we'll reconstruct into how the next generations for the next couple of thousand years on this earth will structure our agenda, our purpose. We're headed towards Star Trek, and we're not still quite ready for the whole basis of the era where James T. Kirk was, screwing everything, including the three titty green chick, as they boldly went where they went before, because nobody is ready to actually, understand or accept Spock, because we're still having problems with respecting each other. Um, man, you know, I've been on this WNDC thing since late '80s, early '90s, and now it's something whole different. Now that I'm here in this new age of Aquarius, and here in my home in DC, uh, and first, I first want to thank cannabis uh, for being a little bit more legal and available for a lot of us people trying to get through this bipolar experience on this bipolar planet during this age where the orders are going down. Baby, I just took a couple of hits, but I cough. The smallest thing is good shit. But I thank you for your concern. See, just what my friends do. Slow down. Yeah, I'm finna to. Matter of fact, all right. Uh, so okay, I'm better. See, I lied. Okay, I'm getting better. um, so I'm having a moment. Okay, so let me get to the brass tacks of some of the shit that's been on my mind. All right. Uh, you know, um, there's a lot of these subjects that I've been looking at on Facebook. Ooh, first one. Let's get on this Hunter Biden dude. Once again, we got the presidency. Once again, we gotta connect the presidency with legal problems and maybe even possibly another impeachment state and all this other stuff, because just like a lot of us, You know, our misfit ass kids are making it very difficult for us to keep our own goddamn job because, yeah, well, we haven't done that great of a job. I mean, come on, man. Hunter Biden is off the chain. And let's get to Kamala. You know, I mean, oh my God, I watched this little clip on uh, on X, my favorite new app, because, well, you know, I'm just not really feeling that tweet or the twit shit. But you know, Elon, you gonna get this. Uh, you know, and so this little light skinned little LBGT ish boy got on there wanting to doggone defend his Kamala, you know, to such a degree that he actually had the audacity to come out and then, in his uppity little way, went out and was like, and you Negroes, no, you niggas, you know, what do y'all got against Kamala? What do y'all got against Kamala? What do y'all got against Kamala? All this other stuff, you know, because he was just this high yellow kind of mentality boy from California. And yeah, he's just been feeling his way because he's been feeling the need to lash out at all of these other people out here that are giving her the, I mean, come on now. Yeah, she owns it on herself, man. I don't care what nobody say, man. You know, yeah, that 50-year anniversary hip hop that she had over there. Hey, I'm pissed off because you know the union only had 12, maybe 20 people max. You know that worked that whole gig, and the process of that, you know, wasn't that many people of color that were on the show crew of it. You know, that's a whole different story. But the mere fact that you know, Miss, what is, you know, what am I going to do as a vice president? Strictly for just the black folks, strictly for just the this, that, and the other. Come on, man. You know, I'm still in my feelings about her and and Kwanzaa. You know, she actually had the nerve to get up on TV, and y'all go back and find it. I had the nerve to go back on TV talking about how when she was young, her and her family used to get together for Kwanzaa celebration. Well, I'm like, Heifer, how in the hell, see, young man, whoever that dude is out there, I hope you listen to this and I hope somebody catch this because we gonna tell you why we be giving that light skinned chick you say you relate to so much as your vice president and cool chick. We give them as black folks so much because it ain't like she ain't got a whole lot of it with her. And see, we let a whole lot of things slide just because it wouldn't have basically benefited, you know, the mere fact that we didn't want that other, you know, dude that's also in legal problems to get another run at this. We did just enough. In 4 years, he shook up enough of the white folks more than he shook up us enough that I'm okay with that, you know, because we are in a transition now where even our politics no longer fit into this demographic that they want to try to act like they're part of. You are not a Republican or liberal or Democrat or this, that, the other. You're not even a Dixiecrat. You don't even know what that is. You don't even understand how this country has evolved so much into where we are to the more part to the biggest part that just like we had to throw tea off the doggone thing for the Tea Party at the point that we were trying to decide if we were going to be a country or not. We are now sitting in this state where we really need to throw our politics out with the bathwater too, because technically speaking, we no longer it's all a blurred line. It's not just you know Democrats or Republicans or liberals or conservatives anymore. It really is just one man, one vote. It really is the mere fact that 2/3 of the people who think that this country belongs to them have no idea that there are more people from other countries that now make this country their country who really don't personally like you either. So let's come back to where we are right now, 2023 in the broad, because you know what? I'm loving you there again because you know, my bad. I don't mean to really be on this little thing, but it's a lot. And it's so much that, you know, while we are trying to get abreast of it, man, you should see these old folks, man. These old folks are about to implode, man. And I'm so glad that this whole white race thing is growing extinct. And yet it ain't helping out the black folks because if we don't learn more Spanish in our lives, we ain't gonna be around here. You know, I'm telling you some good shit. You know, already we barely keeping hold of hip hop. You know, what everybody else now trying to pull their immigration thing. And that little wee black girl made a little video about how she from the West Indies or some shit like that, and getting mad about how all other black folks be coming to Carnival and whatnot. I'm like, little heifer, do you know what carnival is? Come on, man. Oh, I've got a lot that's been making my butt itch to the point where I can't even keep my doggone waist beads on my back because it keeps sliding off my butt because I got no butt no more. Now let's get back to where we at with all this. Oh, Kamala. Oh, by the way, Montel said, "Hey, um, uh, okay, maybe that was a little too deep for some of the other people, but I know she out there. She gonna listen because somebody gonna slide up there and tell her. Now, ain't nobody doggone trying to tripping about who we got. The mere fact that even if we end up with no other alternative but her as the first female president, just the mere fact of knowing that Hillary would be hitting the roof, and right now my man Bill is giggling if he gets a hold of it. He's going, sure will. Man, and Bill, man, I shook Bill's hand. He made me shake his hand one time, and I was sitting back and I was just doing this work. And I really didn't want to be in anything. And man, he has these big, his hand was like Dr. J's hand, and it had this pimp energy in it. And he sat back and he was sucking the life juice with some Epstein shit at the wrong goddamn time when I didn't want to even touch him. And he sat back and he's like touching, and I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh. And then he just took my little energy and ran off. And it took me almost 2 hours to get my own sexuality back. That's how slick Willie he was. And, me and him could go out and gig. I could play percussion. He could play saxophone, and we could really get down. But any day. So don't get it twisted. But we got a lot of people who are reserving a lot of hate for a whole lot of people who seem to be to blame for a lot of things that are going on. And mind you, this is still 3 days after the big birthday cake celebration that we had in our whole transition, our Masonic transition. And don't let you fool you. Them whole Twin Towers is not what all of this is about, because it's even been prophesized on our money for you to be able to see it in increments as it came down. But there is no building 7 in all of this. And everybody wants to talk about all the other stuff, but nobody wants to talk about building 7 and how it came down with nothing. Nothing hit it. And what was in it? Enron and every other problem that we were facing on our way to where we had already grown to can't stand this politician people and this, that, and the other. And with it went the S&O scandal, all of those poor white elderly people who had hid all of their money that they had got all the way through the whole reconstruction, or shall I say resurgence, because the next level past reconstruction was resurgence. And resurgence was not a small thing either, because that's when all of a sudden that Birth of a Nation thing, which was a silent movie, was literally put into play enough to actually gain the whole concept of this Klan thing, actual fraternal membership, just due to the mere fact that while us as black folks were just being free and actually being able to come up and do some things, there was a whole lot of non-white yet non-black people who were really in their feelings, because there's a lot of poor white trash and whatnot around us that was really hating the mere fact that a lot of us brown people were getting way too much air and opportunity and messing it up. We were just shucking and jiving, but that's what we do. Huh, Kamala? Hey, ho! And yet, we want to sit back and play with this feminazi mentality. We want to try to act like, we being anti-Semitism, or, because we up in our feelings. Yet Kamala, she can agree with me here. Come on, man. They ain't bad people. It's just that sometimes they try to act like they are. You're not white. There is no white. We trying to get rid of that shit, and y'all still trying to play that to the other end, and we gonna let y'all slide on that whole doggone other thing when that you trying to mess with people like Kanye and anybody else who mentions you people, because you people is such a blasphemous thing. And I'm not trying to get into another hate crime, but oh my God, we really are stuck on stupid at the wrong doggone time in this world's evolution. And we need to doggone wake up a little bit, because really, honestly, your little petty little concerns are not really even the bigger thing that's going on right now. There are people who are being wiped out by droves just because the weather is changing and there's nothing they can do. They try to slow it down in one place and it's still just, this is an ever evolving bipolar ass system that it's like, this is next level, that kung fu stuff with the feather. If you can catch the feather, you may go. And then the more you try to catch it, the more you blow it away. And you must let the feather fall in your hand. You do not catch the feather. Well, ain't nobody trying to let the earth fall into the hand right now because it's doing some things that just defies everything else. And we still have to give these masses an excuse for them to exist in these little bitty areas that we can contain them in, because where else they want to go? You got people who want to complain about everything else that's going on in America, and it's still such of the best place on earth that everybody else on earth knows it. But a lot of us that have been here way too long to understand what the hell is going on, And the only reason why we suffering like we suffering is because y'all still trying to play dumb about the black and white thing. And believe it or not, us indigenous people have had this place for way before your little pale butts decided you want to come over to this environment, and claim you from Ireland or Germany or this, that, and the other too, while you here, right here, my nigga, right here. And yet we spitting out kids that are so clueless that it sucks, the mere fact that a lot of us adults are not getting old enough to let them have it. And they messing up with a little bit we could have too. That's why I don't go down to Florida, down to them doggone retirement places, because it's off the chain down there. It's hedonism, on being gay. And let's talk about how long you've been gay. The sexual polarity ain't got shit to do with you having an opportunity to have a good time with somebody without it being somebody else's business, as long as everybody, survives the whole ordeal in a positive manner. It's more about who you are comfortable cohabitating with, and a lot of us have these things and don't want to claim these things. We want to say that we need to be married as man and wife, and yet you want to give them their boys' time and you want to have girls' time. And that's just the same thing that you're allowing, per se. And yet, it's way too much for you guys to get. And a lot of you are not getting it because you got too many other things you think, need to get way before. And yeah. And yeah. Huh. I got all kind of bells and whistles going off here. While I'm trying to go at this. And in some ways I think that's, the good old Lord trying to have me slow down, just like Debbie. That's what you're trying to tell me to do too. And yet, this is my time back. This is my first time back, and there's so many things. I've got so much trouble on my mind. Just like you, refuse to lose. And yet, we sitting back here. I just watched a video of this older lady. She's a judge trying to give these young women game on how to handle themselves with these older men her age. They're out there going at them because they don't want them. But yeah, it's something that they say has been natural per se, and yet they want to, she's sitting back there, she's laying out this whole process that I swear looks just like some Steve Harvey stuff, act like an escort, think like an older woman. How the hell these young women gonna do that when they try to sugar baby they way out of the dysfunctional family that raised them? Excuse me. But you know, uh, Australian for beer. And yet, I'm sitting back here and I'm dealing with, subjects like uh, female chauvinism, which was, people are like that, that's like an oxymoron. And I'm like, okay, like, military intelligence, right? And yet, You know, the reality to all of this is that hey y'all on Instagram, I keep forgetting that I keep forgetting I got my phone over here on Instagram, and so yeah, hopefully some of y'all can come over here and find me on YouTube and say hello like Debbie and them did. Now Debbie and them's doing it from Facebook. Now it's a wonderful world we're living in right now, where really honestly, when Nostradamus and them were trying to figure this whole prophecy out to the point where when they got to a certain point where they just swore up and down that something was happening to the point where they literally imploded. I think he suicide or something, because he couldn't figure out the whole thing and all that. Well, maybe possibly a lot of those people couldn't describe to you what Facebook and X, and Instagram and YouTube and this World Wide Web and everything is being. They couldn't talk about this 6G or 7G or these 12 levels when we thinking it's just 8. These DNA strands or this Jesus gene or all of these other things that is going on where we're in the midst of so much natural or supernatural elevation or evolution that's occurring, even mutation that's occurring right now. While everybody else is freaking out about that, we still trying to get ourselves to the level of the first generation of Star Trek with James T. Kirk, who'd love to go out there and bang them 3 titty green aliens, and Spock would always, just be, that unemotional, logical kind of dude, and we can't even, live long and perspire without understanding that dude was not from Earth. He was a cool cat though. And we can't even get into the wharfs and all that. We got African rappers look just like him. Are we ready? We ain't ready. And yet Kamala's dancing. We got a vice president. Come on, man. When you think about it, Lyndon B. Johnson, it's his fault. Because them little Dixiecrat mentality people got us stuck in this whole situation with them still trying to hang on to their I can't stand everybody in the first place. And while we want to brag about this whole concept of, the colonies now becoming, the United States, we have to realize there's a penal colony. And I hate to make that sound like a penis, but technically speaking, we're sitting back here in today's 2023, trying to figure out why in the hell do we have such a war between the genders, while these genders are just choosing and picking which one of the bastardizations they want to be at, and it don't change the mere fact that if you respect everybody too, it don't make no difference if you got a P. It's just that you just got to make sure that you allow others to do so too in comfort, and we just ain't ready for some of these people who really honestly feel the need to actually, I'm going to free myself and do this, that, and the other, so on, so on. I watched this video of this transgendered female from male who decided he wanted to go back and be a wrestler so he can be dominant in that thing. And this one chick, this little sister, little slim sister, who it seemed like, the odds were different because she was definitely not supposed to be in that weight class. But she whooped that motherfucker's ass in a wrestling match so ruthless. Every time he tried to sit back and do this dominance, she would get up on him and hugged him and threw those legs over there like, he no longer thought that he liked to do, and she was too comfortable at putting them legs almost behind his neck, and she was choking this motherfucker out. Every time he tried to do something, she's choking this motherfucker out. And every time he turned back, and finally he tapped out. And when he tapped out, he had to shake her hand and respect, woman to woman. You got your ass whooped. Again, and yet if you can't whip him, beat him, become one. And well, that didn't help him none either. Is partially the message. And all this other stuff that people want to talk about because, there was an old racist white dude who spoke about the whole gay pride situation. And he said, it's not that they're the most this, that, and the other. They're just the loudest. And it's not that they are just the loudest. It's just that umbrella has now become, the breeding ground for so many people to be the loudest over everyone else. And, every time I see all of these doggone white trans people talking all of this stuff, I still think to myself how there's a whole lot of black trans people just like them. they got no love for. And those are ours. And we still accept them, even though we don't want to try to act like they exist. We try to, consider the mere fact that we've been sold a whole bunch of this doggone masculinity and all this other heterosexual, this, that, and the other enough that we've now lost the ability to be the natural selves that so many of us are, to the point where the ones that we worship the most are the ones that we are not aware exist in a certain alternative sexuality that we're not allowed to have in our communities, and to believe that you can't suck one penis and you'll never be a heterosexual again. And yet, we smack each other's butts when it's a good play, or this, that, and the other. And it's taken us long enough to admit that we eat coochie. Now we got to admit that we eat booty, and well, we like to get our booty ate and our salad tossed. Or wait a minute. Prison wouldn't be so doggone inviting for so many people if they weren't so damn comfortable being able to live in their truth without losing their character, their existence. And yet, they can't use the examples of so many warriors before them that set the place for us to be here as people all over, because we are not allowed to talk about if Martin Luther King was straight or gay or poly. We can't talk about how, A. Philip Randolph or the other dude that was with what's her name? Man, it goes on and on. It goes on and on. And I'm trying to throw all of this out, and I know I suck at this. Thank you very much, very much. I'm glad that you're still back here. I was wondering if you were here or not, babe. How you doing, Chibi? My husband's cool too. Respect them all. But see, we are in this place where we are stuck. And I mean stuck. When I say stuck, I mean stuck like they got us so badly stuck on Chuck that we can't even doggone be ready for Jesus now. Here's my fun. All right, you ready for this, for you religious people? All of a sudden, Jesus comes back, and he's better than ever. And he comes back, and he says, yo, if you don't believe me, I'm throwing a free coming out party. I'm back. I'm better than ever, and everybody's invited. Come get up in here. I'll be at room so-and-so and so-and-so, clothing optional. Be there, be square. And he opens the door for every one of us who's curious enough to want to get down. And he opens the door, and boom, you look up in his face, and he's smiling, and that whole woo-ha, and yo, that's him. Yo, my man, Jesus. And then you notice that all he's got on is a pair of nice slippers. That's it, butt naked. And yet, we're still stuck with the inability to find a comedy and not being able to remember what size he was, hung in between the smile hole of his sandals. And yet Mary, she's still hanging out with him because that's Jesus' wife. And that was the whole secret behind the reason why this whole Christianity, structure had to be where it was, because they couldn't let everybody be that way. You had to be, because that was a secret. You had to rather become a part of the clergy. Have you ever, seen the celebration the nuns have to go through? They all get married too. They don't divorce Jesus ever, but they got to get married to him. And yet, we all know that most of them usually join there because they don't like men. But then they go on a service to them. And yet we still got a problem with this sex work and traffic situation and whatnot. And yet these people have been exploiting that whole demographic much more longer than we want to doggone admit, because it's not about, all these negative things, man. People sit up there, I hate that people got people sitting back there thinking that a pimp was a bad thing because he makes these people doggone, go out and sell their bodies. And yet most of the people that are out there because they're blaming an addiction for their reason to want to enjoy being out there sexually of service of sorts. And yet ain't nobody putting a gun to their head to do that. They just giving them whatever they're addicted to. But most of them that do it respectfully don't even doggone do drugs. They know what they're doing. You know what they call those people? Mistresses, wives. Commoner. I'm sorry, Shorty. I'm telling you, if you can't take a joke, see, this is the one thing about black people. Black people, Italians, a couple of Arabs, all of the gangster folks, Russians, a couple other folk like that, we all, spit grits at a certain level enough that it ain't about how you feel about this shit. It's about how you can accept the mere fact that if you can't stand on everything, including your dirt, then imagine you being Polish. When Armenian or whatnot ain't that much more different either. And come on, man. They're better at making better Kanye's than we are better at making more 50 years rap without him. Now, don't let me touch a button somewhere or another because that takes consent. And a lot of us are not consenting to a lot of the shit that we are going through because it's not about you. It's about these generations that are yet to come and that are connected to so many other different things that we really are not comfortable with being around. That we still stuck on, who's having a better or worse time getting into some perverted shit. But ain't what they do every other day. We still got to get up and go to work, no matter how much you like to get dirty, dastardly, and this, that, and the other. You still got to get up and clean up and going back to work and act like you wasn't just a nasty, dirty slut, 16 hours ago and enjoyed that shit. We got more men out there that have this doggone female complex, and they really honestly can't even bask in the mere fact that they were not created by some, boring sex. Sometimes, knowing that grandma had the uppers and lowers gone, a lot earlier than you knew, is uncomfortable if you ever found out that she was still good at what she's do, and yet half of y'all are still trying to sneak out and get you some, and we want to call it cheating. How can anybody who loves somebody sit back and get mad at somebody for enjoying themselves with somebody else? I'll tell you how. Discretion, consent, and transparency. The problem we as men have been taught all of our lives with the conditions of women is that they can't handle the truth. And sometimes we open our mouths and insert foot just due to the mere fact that women, it's not that they can't, but they when they deal with each other, they have this certain kind of trait of trying to allow them to say, that's right, babe. She's a crazy bitch, but you know what? I'm gonna defend you. Ain't nobody else gonna be able to call you that. But I know, girl. And now we got everybody from transes and this and the other want to get into the girl too, and yet we still can't get through the mere fact that we still got folks out here that really on a deeper end of Lilith than they ever were trying to be an Eve type because that was, the one without the radio in it. Yeah, that's a spiritual joke from way back in, those days that people want to try to act like men are from Mars and women are from Venus or something like that, or that X and that Y can't be made, or this, that, it's bullshit. You got more people now, but we got more of these youngins that are built more, that are coming up, that are born not just pansexual. You see what I'm saying? But they cool with whatever's cool with. I just watched this video of this really cute, nice looking trans chick with 2 kids who fell in love with a barber who was older than her daddy. Had both our kids with him, the whole 9. Who sat back in the process of their family being all upset about the whole situation that came by, she accidentally killed her father. Served time, and she's still on probation for another 10 years about it. Funny thing about the whole thing is, got no baby daddy. I ain't got no daddy. And yet she's raising these doggone kids. Boy children. To not have to be the same kind of dysfunctional people that we got left right now trying to live the La Vida Loca. And speaking of all of that, we want to complain about all this immigration and these immigrants and whatnot, and yet What a lot of you are not understanding here is that if you look around, there are droves of who look just like us or close like us or something else like that, who are leaving wherever the hell they just came from too. They don't need to be put into slavery. They are volunteering to get the hell out of wherever they just came from to do whatever we don't want to do here. I'll be damned if I want to doggone, you know, dig a ditch. Now you can't get a goddamn job digging ditches because immigrants, I got it. We can't even doggone. We got problems now with our labor because we can't get most of them to come in and work for those cheap wages and bad damn labor kind of deals because, well, we got that laws and stuff about the immigrants and whatnot. And I mean, really honestly, for all the people that's coming in here and beating their chest talking about they want to be in here too, really honestly, I think every last one of them should just come in and basically just apply because it ain't about us not wanting you to come in here and take something from us that we basically don't want ourselves. It's that we want y'all to basically come in and not act like you deserve something better for being somebody who can't even fucking speak the goddamn language, or respect the people around you. You coming in here, it's bad enough we got to deal with these people in our own community, doggone sniffing around trying to act all perverted and shit like that. But now we got to deal with all of you strange people coming up in here because, those sensible people don't want to run off from wherever they live in. And so you got to understand that, that's a part of this immigration thing that a lot of people don't want to understand, we ain't just getting the cream of crop of something that wants to be here to be a better part of this, that, and the other. We're getting people that other people basically made so uncomfortable for them to live there that they just wanted to come here. And yet half of them can't doggone figure out that, the best way, fastest way of doing that, come in here, fall in love with one of us, take our doggone and embrace our lineage too with you, and then add those together. That's what this melting pot is all supposed to be about. But y'all ain't ready. Nobody's ready because we still are living in that not my dollar mentality too. And if you could have everything you want, but you had to relinquish your identity as the culture and color and whatnot that you are part of, most people would say hell no to that. And yet that's the thing that we got to do because we got no other choice. Ain't nobody 100% nothing anywhere else out here. And the ones that are compost back where they are respectfully. They're not trying to run off and become Americans. Shit. It's hard enough for us to get goddamn good food and whatnot because, well, we're now so bastardized that this GMO stuff is all we got. And we've lost some of the basic things like our spirituality, the ability to be able to pray things into existence. It's been proven that it's possible, and yet that whole concept of religion and whatnot has got everybody so messed up that fellowship is only basically possible at things like sporting events, fights, catastrophes, and yet, hey, other people on Instagram, I can't really see y'all that much because right now I'm still focused on this little thing over here. I don't know why, because it's all here, but the thing here is that right now, for anyone that's out there listening or looking, understand this. Never in the history of humans has there ever been the allowance for someone like me to be able to be a part of a certain amount of transference of energy completely around the planet on a real-time basis for any and everyone with a bandwidth without anyone else going, don't you listen to him? He's evil. Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. I wonder if PE was at the 50-year thing because, man, Flavor Flav would have loved to have met Kamala because, he's hung and talented too. His little black addicted off the chain ass is brilliant. He was the brilliance of the whole fucking group, if you would ask me. And yet, I'm not trying to be that person, and I'm not one to gossip. And yet, Montel did say, hey, him and his wife, they said they kind of miss you, but then so is that other dude, used to be the mayor or something else too, that, you got mad because he wouldn't take you up the ladder with him. And yet, you know, she had the audacity to sit back on TV and go, because I remember back when I was a wee little kid, me and my family used to have Kwanzaa celebration together. Bitch, no offense. She up in the White House talking about how I got two of the same names from my husband and you. Dougie, I got two Dougies. Oh, I think that was him. Oh, I'm sorry. Little light skinned boy that was having such a bad time about why black people are giving Kamala such a bad thing. It's not because, she's insignificant and she can't do what she's doing. And, thank God she's there. But it's just because that don't mean that shit ain't some comical shit. We still gonna talk about her ass if she could sit back and play spades or not. But your little happy ass, I'm speaking and I'm hoping somebody get it to you because see, I was trained spanking boys. Now I'm not sexual with the motherfuckers, but I've always dreamed of being one of those kind of people where if you absolutely positively need your butt handed to you because you need to feel that pain, I'll be more than willing to help, respectfully. You know, you know. I'm trying to break it down, but okay. All right, Debbie, I get one for you. Tell me what exactly should I break down? Give it to me, and uh, I'm gonna try to work with that because I think you would keep me more focused where I'm at right now than I'm at right now, and I shall appreciate you for that. So for that reason, I'm a hopefully see if that bandwidth can catch you up, and I'm gonna do some dumb shit like this joint one more time, and then go through my coughing spell, and then check on my Instagram and the whole nine. And please do that if you're still here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Come on now. Break it down, she said. Now, there's a lot to be broke down to the point where you can't break it all the way down because where's down? And you're on a round planet when you think about it. You know, Sir Isaac Newton talked about the doggone laws of gravity. Coming. You are breaking down the BPs on your point. Okay. Okay, deal. All right, thanks. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Here's breaking down the Kamala on the VP thing. Now, first off, I just want to let you all understand that the position of vice president is a very, very, very unique thing. So for anyone to basically be able to be that, think about it like this. All right, let's go back with resurgence. I always get lost in this, so work with me here. I'm gonna keep this up so I can remember to stay on point. Uh, Roosevelt did almost four some change tours, went from walking to rolling on there, and yet, you know, when they finished this whole resurgence thing, they changed the waterworks and the whole nine, and everything in life and world changed. There were towns that were buried underwater and things of that nature. Things just we had the mud flow and all these other things that we want to talk about. Work with me here. All the way to the point where by the end of it, we had radio. By the end of it, we had the United Nations. And the first delegate to the United Nations, newly formed, was Eleanor Roosevelt, our first lady. Now, why would that be such a in this whole Kamala thing? Well, first and foremost, just the mere fact that Eleanor was a cool chick. Her and Mary Bethune Cookman, or Mary Bethune McLeod, or whatever. They were so cool that she even gave her, a permanent kind of position to the what is it, National Coalition of Negro Women or something like that, for the advancement of the Negro women or something like that. It's down in the Federal Triangle area and whatnot, even though you don't never see no people of color down there since. But there is none for, for um, black men, and yet, you know, uh, it doesn't really surprise me that Kamala went to Howard, and pledged and blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. Didn't it doesn't really surprise me that her life, it's difficult. Kamala Harris is the perfectly good example as to why it's so damn difficult to allow a person of color, a black American, to be capable of being allowed to have this kind of level of power and whatnot, just due to the mere fact that our culture in itself, prescribes certain little levels of some shit that most people don't want to know about. They don't want to know why so many black people give her such a bad time, even though they're still proud to have little black ass, or her kind of black ass, or her person of color ass, or whatever she want to call it, Asian or whatever she said she was from. She wasn't one of them. And when she was up at Howard, up the street from where I'm living right now, I live in LaDroit. I live right behind Doggone Jesse Jackson and Walter Washington's house, right here in the heart of the nation's capital, which we also call the Satanic Amusement Park. And yet, her being able to do it on the grounds of this vice president's house, because it's just a rental to most people who are in for their 4 years or whatever. And yet, we had to sit back and drop out of a whole lot of other bullshit when she really honestly slid her little happy ass up in there. And I'm not trying to slander her because, really honestly, she's not, diva, but she's damn sure ain't no Hillary. She damn sure ain't no Hillary, but then Hillary, let's talk about LBGTQ and this feminazi shit, this mentality of, the oh, good. you know, um. So what's so bad about Big Black Dick? What's so bad about the sweet taste of black pussy? Kamala. Oh yeah, Montel said, "Hey, him and his wife." And yet we ain't allowed to talk about that, or the mere fact that shit, her husband like to come around too. Hell, they all partied together if they could. The funny part about this is the people say that they hate are some of the best people at a party butt naked. No offense. Dead ass. And I know you don't want to associate what I just said and where I went with this, but I'm trying to break it down to you, and it's a whole lot to break down. Because see, I'm pretty sure Kamala, been to some go-go's and some other stuff too. Not the kind that all of the folk on the bottom used to go to, but all of the after parties, where people swear that they ain't gonna tell what the hell they did with each other, even 20, 30, 40 years later, way before she got married to the man that's now, the first vice president's wife. I mean, husband, or what. Now, we ain't gonna talk about who's wearing the pants in that family. But I'm breaking it down. I mean, am I getting close? Am I getting close about this? Because here I am trying to stop some shit on one end, only to find out that uh these messages are coming through on the other end. Hey Debbie, so is any of that broken down a little bit better for you? Because see, what I know better than anything else right now is that while good old Biden Jr. is really putting his daddy in a world of hate. At a point where even the good old doctor, her fine ass, Dr. Biden, sitting back going, Jesus, it's hard being a white woman in this world. Dead ass. If you don't believe me, Ask Miss Onassis. You know, everybody hated them Kennedys, but nobody fucked with Miss Onassis. All right, and for that reason, there's a lot of people that can't understand. Nobody fuck with Coretta either. And God, and God bless Harry Belafonte for being one of the best friends to Coretta and Martin that anybody else could understand. And yet, you know, we ain't ready for the level of understanding that we exist in because most of us are still not allowed socially and culturally to exist in that level of life and lifestyle due to the mere fact that they can't afford where that would put you in life in order for you to do so. You can't be somewhere where people can't be in your goddamn business and afford it, and yet and still be able to afford the ability to be able to make sure that those other people out there, I got the yes, sir, and I think I just missed it when it should have came in right at when you're what question you're answering. But I'm gonna let it go to a point where I'm hoping that somehow or another I'm breaking it down a little bit better, in my own little dysfunctionally ADD, HD, and HD way. And yet, man, I love me some Judge Joe Brown. I know he know my daddy. And yet, people say I don't remember that era, but I was, a grown youngin' back in the days where the reason why I can is because I wasn't a part about the other shit that they really honestly that caused them to do that. I wasn't smoking and drinking and fucking, although I was there enough to make sure that they got home safely. And yet here I am now, around a whole bunch of other people who don't even want to believe that there was a 1999 that people today can't remember how to party like because it's so far behind them that they can't even figure out why the towers, the 9/11 towers, are on our money. The money that only changed when our capital and our mentality and our structure changed from Philadelphia, our first capital of brotherly love, to where we now are in the District of Columbia. And yet, all this is some Frederick Douglass shit. Because, see, it's all about people of color. This whole country is about that. People are sitting back there upset because the National Negro Anthem was being played before the doggone American anthem and the Star Spangled Banner and Rockets Red Glare and all that, and every fucking major doggone NFL franchise as some form of a legal agreement due to how they basically, that's the first state of reparations. That's what it looked like. They have to actually sit back there and allow it to be existed so that they don't put another knee down in front of all the white folks and make them feel bad that they can't put a knee down for their shit neither. While their daughters are trying to doggone twerk better than our daughters. And everybody in America is sitting back there suffering from this inalienable right to say, not my daughter, my body, my choice. Fuck you talking about? God made us biodegradable for a reason, and we've been screwed up ever since we stopped allowing ourselves to basically shit where we eat, to basically put grandma in the ground and let her body and her genetics sort through and back down to the doggone garden where we pick our food and feed our children and make the next generation of it. We can taste our essence of who we became. We're now GMO so badly that people don't want to be whoever they came from more than people are making them. And we can't understand that right now because that's a little bit too deep. You can't, how do you treat that? You got, the only way that you can treat half of the things that we call mental illness is to basically change the whole world structure to make people respect other people, to care for everybody and not just somebody sometimes, to stop trying to act like because your ass is from somewhere else, you any better than anybody else right where your ass is, and it ain't where you came from. If we could honestly just fix that with each and every person, 2/3 of whole mental health dysfunctional situation, we can't free people who don't understand how the responsibility of freedom is in a state of service. Who really is who? The slave or the master? It all ain't about the words, it's about labor agreements and respect. You know, if you're perfectly good at making somebody else a whole lot of money, as long as they treat you fairly enough that you can live off of that, then fine. You know, you know. Well, technically speaking, here's the funny part about that. I'm glad you said that because technically speaking, there's no money. It costs you nothing to love and care for somebody. It doesn't cost you nothing to feed somebody. It costs you nothing to coexist with everybody. The only thing messing it up is money. Is people thinking that if you had more of it, you can do some shit that even when you got more of it, you can't do. We screwed because we don't know how to barter for something. We can't be fair with that, so all we got left is money. And yet, when we talk about money, we still talk about the mere fact that 9/11, 9/11. You can't free people who don't want the level of freedom they think they should deserve because they can't handle the responsibility it comes with. I want to have a child, but you don't want to have the responsibility of building that motherfucker up to be the best that this planet can have because, well, that takes you out of all the other things that you wanted to do when you was fucking around and got pregnant. People ain't ready for this. Even Jesus said it. And Jesus said that this shit would be so intense as these planets and everything are doing this, that if you want to know how that motherfucker was capable of being able to do what he was doing, it's because he didn't have the instinct of fucking. He didn't have it on his mind. He tried to teach it to Peter. They walk out on the water. Peter got lost because the chick opened her legs and bam, that happens on the pulpit every Sunday for a lot of people. You know, they want to talk about pimps in the pulpit. Those are the only motherfuckers that look out for the hoes. They have to come back and doggone, leave a little money and pray for some forgiveness for all the people who were willing to doggone go down that doggone rabbit hole for money. It's not the root of all evil. Evil is the root of all money. Nothing says thank you like cash. You know, nothing says thank you like cash. And yet people can't understand that, you know, it's not about its worth, it's about its wealth. It's about the gesture that comes with it. You know, you can't get money or get something unless it's a tribute, something that you pay for, something you deserve. Karma. We ain't trying to do it. We're just wanting to expect this. You got people that demand the handouts that there are so many people around this planet wish that they could have for a whole lot less. You got people sitting around there bitching and moaning about the amount of welfare they're getting, and you got people in other doggone third world countries right now going, shit, I wish I had those problems. And all of them are running into the borders of these places faster than people are understanding why. They turn back around bitching and moaning, losing their mind, and birthing and raising some of these misfits that sit back around here looking at them while they're looking at this doggone direction that this world is going to, and sit back and go, I don't know what should be better. I should kill these motherfuckers, ignorant motherfuckers, or kill myself. And too many times, it's both now. And nobody wants to look at it like that because everybody wants to say there's somebody else's problem. You know? Fucking Steve Harvey. You know? Can't tell the truth. Shame the devil because nobody else want to do it neither. I remember my aunt kept telling me, man, she said, you know, baby, why don't you want to be a preacher? I was like, I can't because in order for me to do so, every doggone religious structure has certain complications, repercussions, and situations. You can't just walk out and be a rabbi and start talking about some Buddhism and some other shit and some other stuff and sex magic and all this other shit too to your, you know, to your constituents, you know, in a way of enlightening them too, because we live in a society where we can't have too many movers and shakers, because who else is going to be able to sit back and do this? This is like Soylent Green. If there were more people who wanted to get up, get out, and do something right now, if not on this planet, just in this country, just in our neighborhoods, if there were just more people that want to wake up every fucking day and get up and get out and do something, not just for themselves, but for a whole lot of other people too, to earn their existence on this planet. 98% of all the shit that we're going through right now, all over the planet. Bet me. Money. Everybody's trying to figure out how we can keep the concept of money going right now. We got a whole doggone big ass doggone organization called the World Bank that all they do is sit back, and every year they get together and they go, okay, let's start off from the first day. The first day is, all right, let's get the brass tacks down. All right, exactly how much money can we convince everybody in the world exists? Now, you see that right there? All right, now let's break that up into who's got it. Now let's break that up into who needs it. Now let's break that up into how they need to go around. See you next year. That's it. Put our money in a bank. Not even understanding that it needs to go up in there, so they can basically decide how they want to throw it around. If you just keep all of what you got, at a certain point in time, you're gonna need to have to be a bank too. Most people don't want that. More money, more problems, and people don't want that, but they want more money. So they can do what? More dumb shit? That's how we got where we at now. Because rich motherfucking white people took too much goddamn pleasure and spending too much money trying to make sure that there's a bunch of black people who were not feeling so goddamn great about being around these white people. Money. This is a historic thing of, if we don't learn our history, we're doomed to repeat it, just due to the mere fact that there's too much of it that's been miseducated, because we can't handle the truth. Everybody can't handle the truth. Don't need to be everybody, but if we could get at least a little bit more of them, wouldn't need half of the people that we send to Congress or wherever else to fight for whatever we want all over the planet. I live in a place where people go to work every day and have to decide, do 2 million of somebody around the world die, or 250,000 of our own die. And we have to make this decision before lunch because, hey, time is money. And they have to sit back and go, okay, let's let it be done. And never even know that it's going to infect people in their own homes. That while they sit back and cry, oh my God, thank the government, they don't care about us, and never even know that they had to be sacrificed for the greater good. And yet, the bottom line spiritually is that outside of a few miracles, all of us are just a little dirt and water. But we got issues all the way down to who fucking who and why. We got issues about color and who needs this and why we can't have more money and why can't we do this and the other, why can't we get along, and all these other things. And yet, at the end of the fucking day, people can get so angry at some shit that they feel is personally more important than everything else, that they can basically screw themselves out of their own fucking existence. I made that statement in a group where we were talking about female chauvinism and how I learned working in a strip club, there's a thing called frenzy. And he sat back and he said to me, he said, look around. He said, these women that's up in here ain't just regular women. These are women that they come up in here. They are all guaranteed that because of what we do here, we provide the ability for them to actually make a couple $1,000s, thousands of dollars, not hundreds, thousands on any given good night. And from that, they make connections where they just happen to get lucky or get, blessed enough to be able to continue that earning ship to a point where they get
into a frenzy. A frenzy so much in knowing that all you got to do is treat a man a certain kind of way and you can get all the money that motherfucker got available. To the point where even when they driving down the road from double time of trying to get that money and the whole nine, the cop pulls them over, they really go into this frenzy and think that they can actually make themselves even sexier, even prepare themselves to do whatever it's going to take. Just let me get home with all this money and all these other things so I can make some more of this money. And this, that, and the other. And find out that the people that are pulling you over ain't feeling the mere fact that you was in frenzy. To the point where they can be even more insulted. And now your ass is sitting back on TikTok talking about how, come on, officer, I'll suck your dick if you just leave my drugs and my money alone. Come on, man, I'm just going to get to this next trick. Everybody likes Halloween, but nobody likes to be a treat. And as I've gotten older, I've been noticing that, a lot of the people who exist in my realm, I mean, now that I'm still out here in the single-ish kind of time, well, people go, why don't y'all find people your own age? It's like, because, well, the people our own age is on some other shit. Most of them basically, there's this cute little judge chick out there giving these young chicks advice on how they should be better sugar babies. And don't let them doggone sugar daddies get away with blah, 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 while they ain't fucking with them damn sugar daddy types in the first place. And yet, they fall for the okie doke just like Eve fell for the okie doke with that serpent called Lilith. And this shit is over and over. And you sit there and you watch it. And you sit there and they know goddamn well they even perpetuating the whole thing like that. They can't sit back and go, you know what, baby? If we all just got together, we can have these motherfuckers doing whatever needs to get done for all of us. And stop trying to act like they ain't allowed to have as many motherfuckers as they can afford. That's what a village, what a community is. We still sitting back there mad because, oh, they cheating on me. Because you better not go out there and have a better time. Because you out there trying to doggone work for everybody else and you suffering and some motherfuckers sit back and go, what's wrong, Rich? Your monkey died? Oh, rest in peace, Richard Pryor. Oh my God. You know, I'm just glad that I looked up here and noticed that this stream is going because I hope that somehow, some way, I get a chance to go back and look at all this shit and really honestly see if this shit is like what it is. Because I got so many troubles on my mind. Refuse to lose. And yet I'm sitting back here in my 60s now, and I'm something that I've never even dreamed could be where it was when I was younger. I used to hate how older people used to sit back and go, man, if I was you, I'd be looking for the pimples on the booty. I'd sit back there and think, man, she might not be what you want right now, but she's a good one. Give it 20 years. I ain't think the 20 years was can't do the crime unless you do the time. You can't do the time because you got no faith. No faith, no faith. And yet, that's all we got on a bipolar planet and a bipolar era as bipolar people. And even Jesus said, you ain't crazy. You bipolar. And this is a good thing if you can basically stop letting your loins lead your logic. And yet, not forget the mere fact that there's a thing of sex magic that exists too. Having the ability to be able to pray. We know that the two most intense instincts that we have in the human body is extreme pain and extreme pleasure. And either one of those two, we are possibly capable of professing a certain prayer of sorts that we will truly honestly believe is a direct line to whatever spirituality we believe is a judgment factor as to why we breathing or why we ain't breathing, in theory. And as long as we have that kind of formula in our head to do this, we'll get up and get out and do something or get up and do absolutely nothing. And as long as we have people who are rather comfortable being ignorant, they're craving a certain enlightenment that does not exist and never existed in and around them. as a belief that there's something more to life than just. And yet here we are. And I think I've done enough time with y'all. I'm going to go try to catch this news and chill out and smoke some weed. Wish that I had something to do other than beat my own meat, feed myself and getting ready to get up, get out and do something. And I'm going to get this out of my head, and I hope that I can send positive energy to each and every one of you in lieu of anything that might have, triggered some portion of you if you were capable of getting through however long time that I've been in this. And I think it's been an hour and 20 minutes on this one. So I did pretty damn good for not having done one in some time. But I want you, whoever you are, to sit back and subscribe. Please subscribe to wherever you catching this at. Share it, and if you really honestly had any form of enjoyment that take you away from anything else, nothing says thank you like Cashapp. And for that reason, I'm sending each one of you positive energy and hopes that you can send some healing light to not just myself, to a whole lot of other people who deserve to believe that, regardless of whatever else they think is seeing and coming, if we could relate more to understanding that this shit is bigger, but it's better. And as American people of color, if you knew what the ancestors knew, you would know why, if you're going to sit back and try to claim that you are part of the lineage of them, then you should be better on getting shit done and not trying to act like these motherfuckers that are threatening you with your inability to exist. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you your identity to everything else you think is more important than each and every one of us that's right here with you. And when that happens, this earth will start slowing down and acting up and finding the right rotation. All it takes is everybody's finding a way of believing in the same thing in the same way and professing and projecting a certain amount of positive energy into a different direction, where if you speak positively into a storm en masse, that storm will never exist for the history of its rotation on this planet. The reason why it's so fucked up right now is because a whole lot of people behind us didn't think it was possible. They screamed, "Fuck you!" And we sitting back in storms of "fuck you." Why? You fucking me too. Every day above ground is a good day, they say. Some people, they bear to disagree. And that's why there's so many people out there to, contemplate not being a part of this living, breathing thing on this earth. And I'm not trying to, be a proponent for, prevention of suicide or anything else, or genocide or anything else. But until we make whatever troubles each and every person to desire to leave better, maybe it's better for us to check out and do this population control by volunteer. Either way it goes, man, I'm out. Hey, and Debbie, thank you very much for hanging in with me. Good friend. Tell Debbie I said, hey, all right, peace. It's WNDC. WNDC stands for We in the Crib, and you ain't NDC.